What if I told you the most important part of your ice fishing day happens in the first 30 seconds, and that you're probably messing it up completely? We spend hundreds, even thousands of dollars on flashers, rods, and shelters. We obsess over the perfect lure. But none of it matters if you've already scared off every fish in a 50-yard radius. Today we're talking about your ice auger. And I'm going to show you why the way you drill your holes is likely the single biggest reason you're going home empty-handed. Stick around, because this isn't about buying a new, expensive piece of gear. This is about a simple change in technique that could completely transform your winter. Before we dive in, let me know in the comments, do you honestly think a loud auger really matters? Let's see if I can change your mind. For years, the common wisdom on the ice has been, just get the hole drilled. We see it all the time. Guys walk out, find a spot, and just rip the throttle, sending a roar across the lake. The goal is speed and efficiency. Get the hole cut, get the shelter up, get fishing. It's a mentality passed down from generation to generation. The old-timers used loud, smoky gas augers and they caught fish, right? So we assume the noise, the vibration, it's just part of the deal. We convince ourselves that the fish are used to it or that the thick ice blocks the sound. But this assumption, this habit of grip it and rip it, is based on a fundamental misunderstanding of what's actually happening beneath your feet. It's time to question what we've always done and look at the situation from the fish's perspective. Let's start by busting the biggest myth of all, the idea that ice is a great sound barrier. It's not. In fact, it's the opposite. Sound actually travels nearly 5 times faster through water than it does through air, and the ice acts like a giant drumhead, amplifying and transmitting vibrations directly into the water column below. Imagine someone stomping on the floor in the room above you. You don't just hear it, you feel it. That low-frequency vibration is exactly what your auger is creating. It's a dinner bell for danger, not for dinner. The sound isn't just going straight down your hole, it's radiating outwards in all directions, alerting every fish in the vicinity that something big and unnatural is happening directly overhead. Now let's think about this from the fish's point of view. A fish doesn't have ears like we do. It has something far more sensitive to its environment, a lateral line. This is a system of sense organs running down its sides that detects movement, vibration, and pressure gradients in the water. It's how a predator finds its prey in murky water, and it's how prey detects a predator long before it can be seen. To a fish, the world is a symphony of vibrations. The gentle flutter of a dying minnow is a distinct and attractive signal. The sudden, violent, grinding roar of an ice auger, however, is the equivalent of a freight train barreling through their living room. It's an immediate, undeniable signal to either flee or lock down and hide. Not all sounds are created equal. Your auger produces a nasty cocktail of both high-frequency and low-frequency noise. The high-pitched whine of the engine or motor is irritating, but it's the deep, low-frequency rumble from the cutting and the engine's vibration that truly terrifies fish. These low-frequency sounds travel farther and penetrate deeper. They mimic the signals of large predators or major environmental disturbances. A fish is hardwired by millions of years of evolution to react to these specific sounds with a flight response. It doesn't stop to analyze it, it doesn't get curious, it just leaves. And the fish that don't leave will often get what's called lockjaw, hunkering down on the bottom and refusing to bite for a long time. Many fishermen believe the sound is contained in a small area around the hole, a sort of cone of silence just a few feet away. This is completely false. Think of it like this. Take a big sheet of plywood and set it on 2 sawhorses. Now tap it with a hammer. Do you only feel the vibration right where you hit it? Of course not. The vibration travels through the entire sheet. The frozen surface of a lake acts in the exact same way. The vibrations from your auger don't just go down, they travel horizontally across the underside of the ice and then radiate down into the water over a massive area. You might be drilling a hole here, but the fish, 50, even 75 feet away, are feeling it loud and clear. Let's talk about the gear. Without a doubt, the old two-stroke gas auger is the worst offender. It's a triple threat of fish-scaring power. First, you have the deafening roar of the engine itself, which is loud enough to be heard a mile away in the air. Second, you have the intense vibration of that engine, which is transferred from your hands through the auger shaft and directly into that giant ice drumhead. And third, something many people forget is the exhaust. Now, those unburnt gas and oil fumes get pushed down into the hole and into the water. In a calm environment, this creates a scent, slick, that is completely unnatural and acts as a further repellent. If you're still running a gas auger, you are starting your day at a significant disadvantage. So, you think you're safe with your new fancy electric auger? Think again. Yes, they are a massive improvement. They eliminate the engine roar and the exhaust fumes, which is a huge step in the right direction. But don't get complacent. They are not silent. The high-torque electric motor still produces a significant amount of noise and vibration, especially under the load of cutting through thick ice. And more importantly, the sound of the blades themselves, the chipping, grinding and shearing of ice, is still very much present. An electric auger makes you quieter, but it doesn't make you stealthy. If you use it with the same old grip it and rip it mentality, you're still sending shockwaves through the water and spooking fish. So what's the quietest option? A hand auger, no question about it. For anglers focused on shallow water panfish or highly pressured fish, a sharp hand auger is the gold standard for stealth. The sound is minimal, the vibration is low, and the process is slow and deliberate. But let's be realistic. Most of us aren't going to drill 20 holes in 3 feet of ice with a hand auger. The good news is you don't have to. There is a technique, a simple change in your approach that can make your powerful gas or electric auger nearly as stealthy as a hand auger when it comes to the initial, most critical moments of drilling. Here it is, the single biggest mistake almost everyone makes, going full throttle from the very start. We see it constantly. A fisherman sets the point of the auger on the ice and immediately squeezes the throttle all the way. The engine screams, the blades chatter and bounce violently before they bite, and the whole assembly shakes. This initial impact is the acoustic equivalent of setting off a flashbang grenade underwater. You are creating the maximum amount of noise and vibration possible right at the beginning before you've even cut an inch of ice. You are literally telling every fish for 100 feet in every direction, "I am here and I am dangerous," before you've even started. Here's a visual example to drive the point home. Picture a calm, shallow puddle with a fine layer of silt on the bottom. If you gently place your foot in the water, you'll barely disturb it. The water remains clear. Now imagine you take a running start and stomp in the middle of that puddle as hard as you can. Mud and water explode everywhere. The entire puddle is instantly clouded and will take a long time to settle. Going full throttle with your auger from the start is the stomp. It's a sudden, violent intrusion. What we're aiming for is the gentle step. We want to disturb the environment as little as possible. The solution is a technique I call the feathering start. It's all about control and finesse, not brute force. Whether you have a gas or electric model, the principle is the same. Instead of going from 0 to 100, you want to ease into the cut. This simple change completely alters the sound profile of your drilling. It turns that violent, chattering explosion of noise into a much quieter, smoother grinding sound. This is the absolute key to not blowing out your spot before you even start fishing. It takes maybe 5 extra seconds, but it can make all the difference in the world. Let's walk through it step by step. First, place the point of your auger firmly on the ice. Get a solid stance. Don't just hold it there loosely. Now, instead of grabbing a handful of throttle, gently squeeze it. For an electric, this means just barely depressing the trigger. For a gas auger, just give it enough throttle to engage the clutch and start the blades turning slowly. The goal here is not to cut fast. The goal is to let the sharp blades shave a groove into the ice. You want to create a perfect circle to guide the auger, with minimal bouncing and chattering. This is the quiet beginning. Once you have a clean groove cut, maybe an inch or two deep, your auger is now stable and won't bounce around. This is the moment when you can begin to smoothly and progressively apply more power. Don't just jam the throttle open, roll into it. As you apply more pressure, the auger will begin cutting in earnest. But because it's already seated in that clean groove, the cutting will be much more efficient and much, much quieter. You'll hear a steady grinding or humming sound rather than a jarring, violent roar. You are now managing the noise instead of just creating it. Now we come to the second loudest and most critical moment of the process, the breakthrough. Most anglers maintain full power all the way through the bottom of the ice. When the auger breaks through, it lunges downward, sending a massive pressure wave, a blast of air bubbles, and a chaotic slush explosion into the water. This is another major shock to any fish that might have been holding tight nearby. Again, this is a moment for finesse, not force. Just as you feel the resistance lessening, which indicates you're about to punch through, you need to be ready to ease off the power. Why does easing off before the breakthrough matter so much? Because a gentle breakthrough is a completely different acoustic event than a violent one. By backing off the throttle, you allow the auger to slice through the last layer of ice rather than shattering it. This dramatically reduces the underwater pressure wave. It creates less of a slush volcano and injects fewer air bubbles, which fish can also find alarming. You're essentially sneaking through the front door instead of kicking it down. It's the final piece of the stealthy drilling puzzle, a feathered start, a smooth cut, and a gentle finish. Great, you've drilled a quiet hole. Now don't ruin it. The next common mistake is clearing the hole. So many guys will take their metal or plastic skimmer and just start violently chopping and scooping the slush, banging the skimmer against the side of the hole over and over. Every one of those taps and scrapes is another sharp, unnatural noise being sent directly into the water. Or worse, they'll just kick the slush away with their boot, stomping on the ice right next to the hole. You've just spent all this effort being quiet, only to ruin it in the last 10 seconds. The solution is the quiet scoop. Treat your skimmer like a surgical instrument, not a shovel. Dip it into the hole and gently lift the slush out. Don't bang it on the ice to clear it. Just give it a soft shake away from your hole. Try not to let the skimmer hit the sides of the hole as you work. The goal is to make the process of clearing the hole as silent as the process of drilling it. It might sound overly cautious, but on days when the bite is tough, these tiny details are what separate a good fisherman from a great one. Every little bit of noise reduction helps. Okay, the hole is drilled and cleaned quietly. What now? You drop your line in, right? Wrong. The final step is patience. Even with the quietest drilling technique, you've still created some level of disturbance. Now you need to apply the wait time rule. Give that spot 5 or even better 10 minutes to settle down completely. This allows the acoustic vibrations to fade and the water to calm. More importantly, it gives any fish that were pushed out of the area by the disturbance a chance to relax and filter back in. Often, fish are curious. and they will come back to investigate. But they won't do it if you immediately start dropping jigs and making more noise. I'll never forget this one time. I was out on a heavily pressured lake, and the bite was dead. I was drilling holes my usual way, full blast. About 100 yards away there was an old-timer. He was drilling so slowly with his electric auger that I honestly thought its battery was dying. It took him forever to cut one hole. Then he just stood there for a while. I thought he was crazy, but then he started pulling out beautiful crappies, one after another, from that single hole. I hadn't had a bite all day. That's when it clicked for me. He wasn't being slow, he was being smart, he was being stealthy. Does this obsession with quietness apply to every species? Absolutely. While aggressive fish like northern pike might sometimes be attracted to commotion, the vast majority of our target species are not. Panfish like crappie, bluegill, and perch are notoriously skittish. They are prey for everything that swims, so their survival depends on being sensitive to overhead threats. Wary trout and walleye will also shut down or move off a spot if there's too much noise. By adopting this quiet approach, you are increasing your odds for catching virtually every species you might encounter through the ice. It's a universal principle. Ultimately, you don't have to take my word for it. The proof is right there on the ice. So here is the final test. Try it yourself. The next time you go out, I challenge you to conduct an experiment. Pick a spot. Drill your first hole exactly how you've always done it. Full power, quick and dirty. Then walk 30 or 40 yards away and drill your second hole using the stealth method we just discussed. Feathered start, smooth power, gentle breakthrough, and a quiet clean out. Fish both holes and see which one produces first and which one produces more. I'm willing to bet the results will make you a believer. So let's wrap this up. The big takeaway here isn't that you need to run out and buy a $2,000 auger. It's not about the gear at all. It's about the technique. It's about understanding that everything we do on the ice creates a reaction under it. By using a feathered start, easing into the power, backing off before the breakthrough, and clearing your hole quietly, you fundamentally change your presence from that of a loud, clumsy intruder to a stealthy predator. The most incredible aha moment in all of this is realizing that the biggest improvement you can make to your ice fishing costs absolutely nothing. It's just a 30-second habit. This simple shift in approach will make you a more deliberate, more aware, and ultimately a much more successful angler. Thank you so much for watching. If this helped you, please hit that like button and consider subscribing for more no-nonsense fishing advice. And now for my final question to you. What's the one old-school fishing tip you've always followed that you're now starting to question? Let's get a discussion going in the comments below. See you on the ice.